Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Mars, host of the S.O.S, the Shout Out Show. Hope that you're having a fabulous Monday. As you know, on the Shout Out Show, this Monday is always better known as Mo Better Mondays. And I hope your Monday is kicking off to a great start. I am very excited to talk about the topic I'm about to talk about. Number one, I feel like I'm emotionally ready to talk about it. Two, spiritually ready to talk about it. But three, most importantly, creatively, I am ready to speak about this topic. Now, a lot of people talk about the Mamba mentality, which of course is attributed to the late great Kobe Bryant. His basketball acumen, his doggedness on the court, his doggedness off the court, his willingness to help people, teach people, instruct people, and of course, he's better known as the world's number one girl dad. But my point, brothers and sisters, is that I have had an opportunity to go through a year to really implement some of these ideas of the mom mentality, and from a creative perspective, and I'm going to talk about that on the show. It is a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing, and I've taken some aspects of the mama mentality to kind of break down where I want to say where I agree, and I don't want to say where I disagree, where I agree, but then I depart and do my own thing. And I think everybody has that whole aspect, particularly if you're into things like concept development, creative narrative. You know, we all have a foundation, but the beauty of it is that we can break off, create new foundations, or break off, create new foundations, and open other pathways for old foundations to come through. The currency of collective narrative is the thing that's really, really important. You know, I watched a couple videos about Kobe Bryant. And then I went back and I started thinking about when I first saw Kobe Bryant as a basketball player, what were my initial impressions of this guy? You know, here's a guy that wanted to be Michael Jordan. He wanted to be Michael Jordan. But the short sightedness of this is that people thought he wanted to be Michael Jordan, a duplicate. No, he wanted to be Michael Jordan. But then once he mastered that, he wanted to be Kobe Bryant. And many of us were privy to that Kobe Bryant for the last 20 some years that played for the Lakers. I'm proud to have known that guy. I'm proud of being able to watch him evolve on the court and off the court, which was something we'll be deprived of because believe me, like many of you, I had great aspirations for Kobe and the things he was doing off the court. He was off to a tremendous start. Now, before we get in start, we go any further, let's be honest. Hey, when Allah calls you home, Allah calls you home. But if you're lucky, Allah will call you home after you have a representative body of work, if you will. And that body of work is what we're going to talk about. Not just his body of work, but we're going to start talking about your body of work and how you begin to look at aspects of genius, how you start looking at aspects of mastering culture, mastering skills around you to build a better foundation, to build a new model, if you will, to not be Michael Jordan. So for everybody here, you can't be Michael Jordan, but maybe you could be Satana Whitfield. Maybe you could be Preacher Mars. Maybe you could be all these different people that open themselves up and aspire to the greatness that they see in other people. Now, I'm not saying just sports figures, things like that. And I don't want to put this all on the Mamba mentality. The Mamba mentality was a beautiful thing, but it had its flaws, of course, just like all of us. You know, it was too close to being darn near obsessive at times. But Kobe Bryant, in his infinite wisdom, we actually got to hear him talk about the mom mentality and how he came to come up with it. And when I say when he came to come up with it, this was a guy who specialized in narratives, one of the few sports figures that took the sports narrative and put it together with the work ethic. And the work ethic and the sports narrative made him a legend. So we're going to be getting into that. I'm going to be asking some of you guys, what are your sports narratives? Not sports narratives, but what are your creative narratives? How are you embodying and embracing this whole idea of the Mamba mentality? Because the Mamba mentality is not a Mamba. It's not that. It is a commitment to excellence. A commitment to excellence, and this commitment to excellence is excellence you may not reach, but you're willing to put in the time, effort, and the darkness to get there. You know, every win is not a win. That's what I love about the Mamba mentality. Every win was not about a win with Kobe Bryant. Every win was not a win about Michael Jordan or in sports and politics. What it was that you engaged yourself to the point that whatever the situation was, you brought your best self to the situation. And so we're going to talk about how we bring our best selves to the situation. I'm glad you tuned in. Again, this is Preacher Moss on the S.O.S, the Shout Out Show. Mamba mentality, how you can embrace it. Satana, let's start the show. Welcome back to the S.O.S. I'm the shout out show host, Preacher Moss, brothers and sisters. Let me reiterate, I am the host. I am not the owner of this platform. The owner of this platform is the person who ever came up with StreamYard and the person that inspired them to come up with StreamYard. Brothers and sisters, all I can say is that I am a humble and blessed and thankful discoverer of how to use this platform to get my message out and be able to encourage people and engage with people. You got a show for yourself today, brothers and sisters. You have tuned in to a show I've been wanting to do, and I'm going to take you guys from A to B, soup to nuts, talking about this whole thing about creatively embracing the Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality. Now, if you're coming on the show for the first time, I don't want to cut you short. I don't want to seem like I'm slighting you, but here's the deal. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you. If you don't mind, jump in that comment section, share your thoughts. But also, we're trying to increase the bandwidth of the show. Go to the comment section, not the comment section, but the notification link. Click that. If you like the show, click yes. We're trying to move our numbers from 164 to 165 by the end of the week. That's right. My mom used to always say, it's a cinch in the inch, takes a while for a mile. That means I'm going to be patient with it as we go to this platform. Now, if you're coming on the shout out show for the first time, we have stars in the building, and you could be a star in the building if you come and spend a little bit of time with us. These people are known as the shout out show family, the shout out show soldiers. These are the people that collectively, they make this show what it is. You know, I like to say that maybe I'm the director, but these are the people who actually drive the show, that drive the engine. So we have some stars in the building. Let's get to them right away. First off, we got Sister Ree. How you doing, Sister Ree? Your little buddy is back around the corner. I just want you to know that. But Sister Ree, thank you so much for coming on the show. For those who don't know, Sister Ree controls the diet for yours truly. She's the craft services person. She's been a dietitian for the Shout Out Show. Thank you so much, Ree, for tuning in. Next up, we got my main man, Altaf Rashid. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my brother. He is the Canadian ambassador for the Shout Out Show. This brother, he comes on time. I mean, 6 o'clock, he's straight up, straight down. I can always count on Brother Altaf, making sure that the quality of the show is as good in Canada as it is in the United States. Altaf, great comments yesterday when we were talking. I appreciate it. I meant to throw that out to you. Great comments. Appreciate you coming on and supporting the show. Next up, we got Sister Ika coming all the way from Indonesia, brothers and sisters. And I don't mean Jakarta. She's from a little place called Depok, holding it down. We hope that your catering business is doing well, Sister Ika, and you're selling food and people are realizing you're a heck of a cook, and they come back and they buy more food. Alhamdulillah, may Allah continue to bless your business endeavor, Sister Ika. Next up, we got, of course, our consultant producer, Satana Whitfield, working the back, the ones and the twos, if you will. She was a DJ, making sure that all the ads come up, making sure that the camera switch, making sure that I can be heard, brothers and sisters. You don't know how important engineering is in this business. So, Sister Satana, thank you so much for holding us down. We appreciate you. Let's get to our topic today. Our topic today for More Better Monday is creatively engaging the Mamba mentality. Now, a lot of people have heard the Mamba mentality, and it started years ago. It's legendary now, but the original Mamba mentality had to do with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant invented a character called the Black Mamba. And when he invented this character, which is genius, he invented a character that was almost like his alter personality. It gave him space and pause to be this dogged individual. When I say dogged individual, you've heard me talk about deliberate practice. Well, he was deliberate practice times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6. Legendary stories of him having 3-hour practices to work on one move, not a bunch of moves, one move. He would shoot it the same way for 3 hours, brothers and sisters. You know, there's a quote from the great karate star, martial arts star, Bruce Lee. He says he's never afraid of a man that practices a million moves. He's afraid of a man that practices one move a million times. You know, inshallah, we all get to that precise level, that level of discipline. But the story of Kobe Bryant is interesting. And many of us have had this situation. The story of Kobe Bryant, or the legend of Kobe Bryant, I got to see. And it was a playoff game against the Utah Jazz. And he was a 17, 18-year-old guy just in the league. You know, he'd been drafted. And they put him in the game in a crucial time. And he took a shot and it was an air ball. But here's the story. He came back down court, took another shot. It was another air ball. Now, the Los Angeles Lakers lost. I can't encapsulate the look on his face that he had as everyone laughed at him. They ridiculed him. They joked. His own teammates were laughing at him. And imagine you have a whole stadium of people that have seen you fail at the highest level 2 times. The ball didn't touch the rim. And I remember watching this, and this is what I remember. I said, I don't know where this guy is going to go, but that's never going to happen again. He's going to go someplace, and he's going to work. And I was happy to see that he put that work in. Now, similarly, as an artist, a lot of people don't know this, but my biggest motivations are from failure. Not failure in the way that some of you think, like, oh my gosh, my character, I lost my house. No, I like failure in the idea that I exhaust options on a problem. I don't know if you understand that. If somebody says there's 3 ways to do it, I always look for the 4th. You know, is one way to skin a cat? No, they say, no, it's 6, 7 ways to skin a cat. And I enjoy the process of exhausting a possibility. Many times when I write jokes, it takes me a while to write a joke now because I don't put it out on the paper, just on a paper. I put a joke out on the paper and I give myself all the contingencies of why a person may laugh, why a person may laugh really loudly, why a person may think before they laugh, and why a person may just laugh out altogether. I exhaust the potential, the possibilities of an action. Kobe Bryant was the same way. I'm not to say that we and I are the same. We're not. He was in basketball. I'm in sports. But I want you to understand why this is important because I did the same thing with a project called Allah Made Me Funny. And I spent years trying to figure out how we can exhaust all the possibilities and the outcomes. If you want to be great, if you really, really want to be great, you have to look at great people. And you have to be honest with yourself and say, I don't have that greatness in me. Now, I don't have the greatness in me, but I can invest in myself. I can make myself a process, a model whereby I can be great. And what is being great, brothers and sisters? Being great is being consistent. It's not being great one time. It's not hitting a game-winning shot one time. It's hitting all the shots in the game. And when you get to the game-winning shot, you still hit it and you win the game. See, I don't know what happened back in the day or whatever, but, you know, people want to say me, me, me. It's not me, me, me. It's we. I hear I'm a creator. You hear me say I'm a creative. You never hear me say I'm a creator. A content creator. No, I'm a content creative. Because if you look at the 99 attributes of Allah, there's a space in there. Al-Badi. One of his characteristics, Al-Badi. And they talk about Allah being the creator. Okay, now I know I'm getting kind of Islamic-ish on this, but follow me what I'm saying. And it clearly says that man is not a creator. The greatest of us are people who learn skill sets We develop skill sets whereby we can discover how to use everything in creation at an efficient level. This is why when I said Kobe Bryant would have a 3-hour practice and work on one move, it's the same thing. Sometimes I write a joke and it's very funny, but it's not funny the way I need it to be funny. It's not funny whereby 2, 3, 4 years later, people remember that joke. When you do a show and you don't do the joke, people go, I want the people to do that show. You want that. And it's not ego, brothers and sisters. It's just that process I talked about that I failed doing the joke. I failed in possibly the most beautiful and Allah's most merciful way because I looked forward to failing because I wanted to exhaust all the possibilities. Now, think about Kobe Bryant. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I never met Kobe Bryant. I knew people that knew Kobe Bryant. My big brother, Reginald Kitchen, he knew Kobe Bryant. He knew Kobe Bryant's dad. He was from Philadelphia. The day he died, my brother Reggie called me. He said, are you looking at TV? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, there's a thing that said Kobe Bryant died. And I was like, oh, it can't be. It's one of these things. And it turned out to be true. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I believe 2 days or a day after he passed away, I cried like a newborn. I cried like a newborn. And I'm going to tell you why I cried like a newborn. I had enjoyed him as a basketball player. To the most, you win a championship, he won 5 championships. That space of creativity that he was in, brothers and sisters, I felt like I had a teammate. Not in the basketball sense, but felt like I had a teammate. And a lot of people said the same thing. They felt like they had a kinship with Kobe Bryant because as soon as he stopped playing basketball, the mentality, the Mamba mentality meant that it shifted. And his Mamba mentality meant that I'm going to teach people this process. Young girls, young men, pro basketball players, business people. He was folding himself into a spot where this mentality was a winning mentality. It was an uplift. And like many other people, I felt a sense of loss. And I could be honest, it took me some time to get used to because you see somebody their whole life. And he was younger than I am. You saw him his whole life. And I was excited to see what he's going to do at the next level. As a creative and speaking for a ton of other creatives, we felt like we were robbed. We understood the process of life and death, but we felt that we were robbed from potential. We saw greatness on the horizon, and we all wanted to get our popcorn and watch it all the way through. Every jazz man will tell you, the older jazz man will tell you the genius of 2 people, Miles Davis, but they'll tell you the genius and the spirituality of John Coltrane. Why are these important? Because you were able to watch genius develop, but it was in a very, very humble mode. John Coltrane did the same thing that Kobe Bryant did. He would play 2, 3 sets in New York, drive to his house in New Jersey, go into his garage and play and play and play. And he would play the same scales over hundreds of times. Some of you guys know the great basketball player, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. Well, this is why I like Mahmoud. Mahmoud consistently looks for genius and reward and improvement in the nuance of little things. He and I had lunch a couple years ago, like 2 years ago, and we talked about the little nuances. Now, many of you know that he has Tourette's syndrome. And he would say, he was teased as a kid, and people, he had the tics and stuff like that. And he said he learned how to master the tics into basketball moves. And he said, I can be honest, sometimes when I shoot a free throw or a shot, it doesn't count if it touches the rim. This is a guy that shot 500, 600 shots. And he would discount a bunch of them because they touched the rim. Not because they didn't go in, because they touched the rim. And that perfection is something I saw up close. And he said the beautiful thing about perfection is that you'll never be perfect. And so when you're talking about embracing a mama mentality, brothers and sisters, I want you to be happy. I want you to be joyful to the fact that you're not great, to the fact that you're not perfect, to the fact that wherever you are trying to get to that place of self-improvement, whatever it is in life and relationships and business, that there's a space in there where that you're going to have a journey, and that journey is going to be so valuable. Look forward to failing. We're in a society that thinks if you fail, and I have to say this, if you fail, you're not a failure. Does that make sense? If you fail, you're not a failure. I have to say this, guy. I used to be a school teacher, and I remember kids would get something wrong on their paper, and they would just crawl into a little ball, and they want to tear the paper up and get upset. And I had to explain to them, it's 20 questions on the test. You still have 19 to go. And I should make jokes about that because they were in the spirit, they were in the feelings. And I was dealing with kids. I was dealing with a lot of social emotional issues, but it mattered that much. It mattered that much. And I want to make sure I'm respectful of that. And even as I talk, I'm talking to you this way. I want to make sure that we're very, very clear, brothers and sisters, that investment is really what the Mamba mentality is about. What you're willing to invest, not what you're willing to lose, but what you're willing to invest. People talk about sacrifices all the time. Is it really a sacrifice? I worked out harder. What does that mean, you worked out harder? I worked longer. What does it mean? Time is relative. Ray Lewis had this great quote when he was talking about Kobe Bryant. He said, all of us at the end of life, all we have is the time we've spent. So you're only talking about time you spent, how you spent it, but you spent that time. And if we can even be even more clear, brothers and sisters, we're spending time, and you have to have the idea that you can't waste time. Time is not yours. I have a saying, and what are the devil's two big, what are Shaitan's two biggest lies? You're better than someone else, and you have more time. Neither one apply. Because your better is not their better. Your better is not their best. It is an oxymoron to believe that you're better than anybody if you're not willing to compare yourself and go through the same process, or let that person go through the same process. And that was the thing about the Mamba mentality. Kobe Bryant invented it. He said he made up an alter ego that allowed him to push even deeper and be even more maniacal about achieving greatness. So where everybody stopped here, the Mamba mentality took him here. And he's the first one to say it may have cost some friends, some relationships. He hurt a lot of feelings. He said, but he had a single goal that he was trying to win and be the best he could doing it. So maybe for us, maybe if we take things off the table, politics, GOP, white supremacy, things like that, maybe if we understand that if we focus and invest in ourselves to make sure that on the way to being the best we could be, we are going to invoke these principles of the Mamba mentality and have a single-minded directedness to the goals we want. Now, I'm like, this is not to exclusion of family and friends, but it will be to the exclusion of some family and friends and some associates. Not because you don't like them or you don't love them, but they don't want what you want. And it's not a shame to want what you want, brothers and sisters. I'm not saying don't care about people. Of course, we care about people. But you have to want what you want. And that's what I also loved about the Mamba mentality. He saw a goal. He saw an objective. He attacked it. Many of us are the same way. We don't want to say to the level we went, but yeah, absolutely. You see a goal, you see an objective, you are immediately strategizing about how to get there. Immediately strategizing about how to get there. And there's no shame in that. Now, let me speak to the African-American minority perspective here in America. This is why Kobe Bryant was loved and feared. They loved him because he did things that they thought the rest of us could not do. He was an example, or I want to say he was a star that was out of our orbit. But in the second part of his life, when he stopped playing basketball, they found out that he was not out of our orbit. He was right in our orbit, and he was taking more people out to be stars. The true idea, or the true identity, and the true DNA of the Mamba mentality is that water raises all of our boats. So even when I do comedy now, I'm looking for the next person that's trying to learn how to tell a joke. Let me even go further than that. When I do comedy and I talk to young children, I'm not looking for the next comedian. I'm looking for the next boy or girl that's going to be able to stand up and present themselves well in a public speaking situation. I model it on stage. I may show confidence and things like that, but I want to see that young boy or that young girl have the Mamba mentality to say, I am somebody, and look somebody in the face when they're talking to them and tell them their name, tell them what they like, their dislikes, and present themselves. That, my brothers and sisters, is not comedy. That's not Mamba mentality. That is prophetic tradition. And that is the core of us bringing our best selves to a situation, even if bringing our best selves is to help somebody else in their situation. So this whole thing, brothers and sisters, is laid out pretty nicely. It's laid out pretty nicely. Kobe Bryant did us a service. If we're really listening to what he's saying and what he meant, and you realize that when he won that Oscar for that Dear Basketball, it wasn't animation. He had been doing that story for years. He brought in some of the best story writers, brothers and sisters, while he was playing basketball, while he was on a bum Achilles. He did all of these things. And so I'm going to ask everybody a word, if you will, to start using in your dialogue, to start using in your process, in your own version of the Mamba mentality. Start populating yourself with good skills. Start populating yourself with effective networks. Start populating yourselves when you see failure, but it's not failure, brothers and sisters. You're looking to exhaust the possibilities to an answer. Because people think there's always one answer. No, not really. There's different pathways, but you have to think that way. Imagine Kobe Bryant and you in a workout session. He tells you, so-and-so, I want you to pump dribble. I want you to jab step, pump dribble, come up off the leg, shoot up off your left leg, and fade back. And you go, I don't know how to do that. He shows it to you once, and he shows you to it twice. And you get it on the 10th time, and then he leaves the gym. That man is expecting for you to stay there for the next 2 hours and 50 minutes. Okay? You're saying that's a long time to be working on one move. But what's a lifetime? What's a lifetime? What's 2 hours if you live to be 65 years old? You live to be 70 years old. You live to be 80 years old. Hell, you live to be 5 years old. What does time have to do with it? You don't have more time. Time is granted. Like I said, our whole lives in regards to Ray Lewis, what did he say? All we have in common is time spent and the experiences that come around it. You're in the bonus round. You're in the bonus round. Yes. Would I love to see Kobe Bryant do all the things I was hoping he was going to do? The deals he had made, the people he inspired, the Lakers win and him be in the audience. Yes, I wanted that. But if Kobe Bryant's really looking at us and assessing what he's doing, he's telling everybody, what's that one move you have? Good. Work on it in the next 3 hours. See you later. So, brothers and sisters, that's our show today. We had some comments. What's going on, brother Eric? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. My main man, Eric, good to see you on the show. I'm sorry I didn't bring more people in. So, Tana, who else we have? We got brother Eric. We got, oh, man, JT. What's going on, little brother? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh to you and the family. I'm glad you came on. I hope you caught some of this thing on Mamba Mentality, because that's what we talk about all the time. Mama San, so-called failure is an opportunity to improve. Yes, yes, I embrace failure. Like I said, it's not failure for me. I love to look at options. I like to exhaust options. If it doesn't work, it just means it didn't work. Doesn't mean it's a failure. And to all you young fellas out there, remember, don't get upset when you miss a question on the test. If there's 20 questions, you still have a possibility of getting a 95. Let it go. Focus. All right. What's going on, Macy Hustle? Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What you say? I get accused of thinking I'm better than them because I don't want to be around them because of reasons that I see are not desirable for my intimate space. Listen, don't apologize, Sister Macy Hustle. Don't apologize for recognizing your needs. Recognizing your needs is a part and a pathway and a part and parcel to understanding I want to have a great life. I want to have a meaningful space. I want to have meaningful relationships. And sometimes you have to be the example. So maybe they change their perspective. Maybe they change their behavior. Maybe the divine plan is you're there to help change them. Think about that. What's going on? We got our founder from BeFinanciallyIndependent.com, Esquire Maxine B. Cade. Very interesting and informative. Thank you so much. And we're still getting great comments on your segment of BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. It was a fabulous segment, everybody. If you get a chance, go on YouTube, check it out. It was the Saturday before last. Check it out. Fabulous episode. All right. All right, Macy Hilson. You know what I'm saying? When people want greatness, you go find out all the people that don't want greatness. You go find all the people that all the people who say they want something, don't want to put that work in. Don't want to put that work in. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this story. There's a guy, I was on the road. He bugged me to death. You know what he bugged me to death about? He's like, man, what are you doing in the morning? I said, I pray and I go run. He go, really? You go run? I said, yeah. He goes, well, where do you run? I said, well, I run about 4 or 5 miles. No, I said, about this time, I run about 6 miles. He said, really? I run 6 miles too. I said, good for you, right? Good for you. He goes, so you run? I said, yeah. He goes, when do you run? I said, I run after Fajr. He said, yeah, I like to run. I said, good for you. Then the guy goes, so maybe I can run with you. When do you run? I run after Fajr. I'm telling the guy. He goes, how long you run? I said, I run about 4 to 6 miles. He goes, well, I run like 10, 12 miles. Good for you. I run 4 to 6 miles. Now, brothers and sisters, what am I getting at? Of course, we got up in the morning. He wanted to go run. He didn't make it past 1.5 miles. He said, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. I said, that lie you telling is holding you down. He goes, I just ran 2 miles, 1.5 miles, 2 miles. I said, good for you. I run 4 to 6 miles. Point of story, brothers and sisters, don't lie about greatness. Don't lie on the road to greatness. You know why? Because greatness always has a way of manifesting itself by showing you you're not great. All right, let's go to our sponsors. I want to give a shout out, of course, to BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. If you guys are trying to figure out the genius aspect of financial advising and trying to get your paper together, you need to go to BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. If you don't want to go to the website, we're old school. You can call 1-800-679-3175. Again, that's 1-800-679-3175. And we want to give a shout out to my alma mater, Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Listen, if you're interested in getting a quality Islamic graduate education, talking about Master's in Divinity, talking about Master's in Islamic Studies, Islamic Leadership, or like myself, Master's in Islamic Education, you can do it, brothers and sisters. Make sure you check them out, Bayan Islamic Graduate School, and that is Bayan Online. Again, that's Bayan Online. I'm sorry. I said bayanonline.org. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. But listen, brothers and sisters, this has been a great show. I think I'm going to take this subject. I'm going to discuss it with my consultant producer because there's so much to actually talk about. Because when I started doing it. I had like about 7 areas. Maybe we make More Better Monday, Mamba Monday or something like that for while we go through this part. And I'll break down the different sections. Okay? Listen, you guys have been amazing. I appreciate you. God bless you. And inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Preacher Mars Shout Out Show. Yo, assalamu alaikum. I'm Preacher Moss, comedian extraordinaire, but I like to add a new title to my name. I'm Professor Preacher Moss. You know why? Because I just graduated. Wait a minute, let me get this out of here. This is okay. I'm Professor Preacher Moss, and it's come through the courtesy and the blessing of the Muhammad Ali Scholarship, which came through Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Now, listen, I know a lot of you people are thinking, can I do it? Yes, you can do it. This is the part where I know I'm supposed to say it's easy. It's not easy. Listen, it was easier to get this degree. Trump would be a mufti. I digress. Listen though, for you brothers and sisters that are interested, go to bayanonline.org and you could be like me. Put yourself in the picture for Islamic education. Wait a minute, there's a picture right there. Sound like them, everybody. Take care. Preach them off.